Okay, so at this point, you probably have customized your Touchstone account or branded it for your colors and logos. You probably have renamed or decided to keep your 4 key functions, or at least customized your 4 key functions list, and you might even have your organization chart built. So now it's time to start identifying the processes in your business. And there are a couple of ways to identify all of the processes in your business. One way is to look at your existing job descriptions, which should identify what each position in your organization does. But what we've found is that most companies don't use job descriptions very effectively, and rarely are they ever kept current. So as a best practice, we recommend starting with one of the 4 key functions, begin identifying all of the processes that you have or need for that key function, and then work your way around each of the 4 key functions. I like to begin with the sales and marketing key function because that's often seen as the place where business starts, where everything begins. So consider the question, what is it that happens in your business to indicate that a prospect has become a client? You're no longer trying to sell to them. They are now a client. They've moved from a prospect into a client, and now you're going to start delivering products or services. So write down the name of that process. It could be a purchase order, a signature on a proposal, a signed contract. It could simply be a verbal agreement, but whatever it is, let's write down that one step that most often occurs to indicate that a prospect has become a client. So I'm going to come up here and say process create. And let's say the process name is receive contract. And I'm going to put that process in sales. The next thing I'm going to do is start thinking of what are all of the activities that happen in the business up to this step? Because these are all of the processes or steps of processes for your sales and marketing key function. Anything that happens after receiving the contract is going to go probably in operations or finance, admin, HR, IT, maybe even management. But everything that happens up to this point will be sales and marketing. So these are going to start being your sales and marketing processes. So let me give you an example. I was working with a client and I asked them, what do you do to generate new business? And they began to describe this very involved and long story about exporting contacts from their database and segmenting them and sending emails. And I said, hold on a second. I wasn't actually asking you how to generate business. I was asking you, what is it that you do? So if what you were just describing to me were a process, what would you call it? And they thought about it for a moment and they said, oh, I think I'd call it a past client reconversion process. So I said, great, let's come up here. Let's go create a process. Process name is past client reconversion. And let's put that in sales. And I said, what else happens? And she says, well, we do Facebook advertising. Great. So we came up here, typed in Facebook advertising. And I said, and let's put that under marketing. And then I said, what else do you do? She said, well, we do trade shows. And she started naming off a whole list of other sets of processes. And then I said, well, when someone responds to a Facebook ad or comes up to you at a trade show, basically you get a lead. What do you do after that? And she said, oh, well, we do a qualification call. Great. So we typed in here, qualification call. And let's put that under marketing. And then what do you do? She said, well, if it's qualified, we'll do a site visit. And I said, great, let's put that under here. And then I said, then what? She said, well, if the site visit goes well and still qualified, we typically do an estimate. And then we follow up the estimate. So you can see that I'm now starting to create a whole blueprint of processes for the sales and marketing key function. Now, in sales, we like to organize processes. In your Touchstone account, when you first get started, you're going to see marketing and sales. But really, there are a couple of other, I like to break it down a couple of other ways. So I'm going to actually create a sub-function called generating and nurturing leads. Because when we think of, and I'm going to pop that up above sales, and actually sales, I'm going to edit the sales sub-function and call it converting. Let's call it sales conversion. Because really in selling, you've got, and marketing is, let's rename marketing, and let's call it developing marketing strategy. Because marketing is really the strategic side of the sales process, and here is where you would do, you would have a process for competitor analysis. Let's put that under marketing strategy. We would probably have a process for defining our target market. So you can begin to see how we're doing these. Okay, so defining our target market, estimate follow-up is really part of generating, and actually, you know what? That's really sales conversion, isn't it? Facebook advertising is part of generating leads. Estimate follow-up is part of, let's put that here. Doing an estimate is probably, and a site visit is probably going to go in here. Can you see how what I'm doing here is I'm starting to organize my processes in categories within my key function? So trade shows, that's going to be a place where I'm going to define my leads. Okay, so now we've got processes for marketing strategy, processes for generating and nurturing leads, and processes for converting our strong qualified leads into sales. So this is what you want to do for your 4 key functions. Go through and essentially create a table of contents or a blueprint of your processes in each of your 4 key functions. There is a library up here. So once you've identified as many processes as you can think of for sales and marketing, come up to the general process library and start thinking, well, yeah, we do need a referral process. Let's think about generating and nurturing leads. Well, a referral process, we do blogging. Let's see, is there anything else? We do direct mail. And we do email marketing. So you can go through, we do Google Analytics, and now you can go through and start pulling down processes from the library that you can use to fill out your business process list. So once you've finished working with sales and marketing, now go to the next key function. Typically, it's going to be operations or finance or strategy. And there are some great processes in the library. One key thing to remember, if you find yourself getting into describing the detailed steps of a specific process, typically you've gone too far in this stage. All we're really trying to do here is name and organize your processes. Okay, that's it.